Hello.
Hello.
Now, if anyone listened to the last podcast, we did promise that we'd be up on a roof. And unfortunately, we're not up on a roof.
We're not on a roof.
We're not on a roof.
The way the turkey tumbles here in England.
It is the way the turkey tumbles is a phrase I've never heard.
I like it.
A phrase I've never said. So we will go onto the roof. The weather's just a little bit rubbish. But where are we today?
We are in the audience room, which is a big hallway just on the other side of the main house. And I often forget about it, which I feel really bad about because we don't actually do anything with this room right now. It's mostly just for storage. Sometimes we do sort of, some events here, like we did a folk festival probably 3 years ago now. So we do the odd event, but it's just a big hallway, really.
It's being used this weekend for a rehearsal dinner. Just to get a nice change of scene.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So again, to set the scene for people that are listening and not watching, this is a massive, and you might hear the echoey voice. This is a massive, massive room with what can only be described as the world's biggest fireplace.
It is extremely big.
It's about 15 foot high, and it makes me feel like a midget. I don't know if it makes
The
you feel like a
hallway,
midget.
I think the hallway we calculated was about 3 T-Rexes big. How big do you think this is in terms of T-Rex?
I'd say in this whole room, I reckon you could fit a T-Rex, a killer whale, and an elephant
Simultaneously.
and they just fight to the
It's
death.
a great zoo. I would pay money to see this zoo.
Like 6 T-Rexes.
Well, this is
Yeah.
this is an interesting point because you're trying to figure out this is a big open space, wooden floors, wooden paneling, really, really tall. Again, we're rubbish at this kind of stuff. Lots of interesting, intricate detail, but you're trying to figure out how to use it, right? So yeah,
Exactly.
what do you think of this space? What could it be used for?
Historically, it was used for all the tenants of the estate to gather once a month to have a big feast. But it was kind of dinner with a catch because you were expected to pay your rent at this dinner. So if you didn't turn up, it's quite strong social manipulation, isn't it? That everyone in your local community would know so-and-so didn't pay their rent this month.
It's the only time you can meet the landlord too.
So give me an idea of how many tenants there might have been in the Berwick heyday, because it's a big old estate. It's not obviously just the house that we're sitting in. There's lots more to it.
Well, Mr. Watson, at its prime, had too much land and too many houses. I think at its peak, it was like 80 houses or something like that, 90 houses. And over a long period of time, it's just dwindled. And he owns some houses in town as well, Shrewsbury Town, that's just been sold off over the years. So all of those people would gather here with their families and they'd have their meal and say their thanks. And then on the other hand, they'd pay their rent. So it's just very
Really?
realistic, yeah.
The number that pops into my mind is 40 cottages across the estate. I think that's a more modern number, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's still a pretty impressive monthly feast. Every month, a bunch of families. You see, the way that I remember this story, and maybe it's because I view your family in a very, very positive light, is this was where everyone that worked on the estate would gather and they would get paid.
Yeah, why not?
But it's the opposite.
Let's go with that.
It's the opposite.
That works.
That's actually the Dove Kit room, our ground floor bedroom. That was the servants' mess hall.
So there was a room. There was a room where the staff would get paid, I suppose.
Yeah, but it was a much smaller room than this.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
The bigger
fewer
the-
people were getting paid than were paying.
Wouldn't you want when you want the room that you pay the person to be in, like the nicest, biggest, grandest hall, because you want the person to give you more money, so you want them to feel good about being in the room, so you put them in the biggest hallway, right? That's my logic.
I think it's funny that they have an entire separate room for tenants to come to, not the main house.
Yeah, and I wonder whether that's a 19th century or before thing where the main house was the family home and you wouldn't get the tenants traipsing through with their muddy shoes and all of that kind of stuff.
It's funny. I remember even as a kid, my granny, who lived here, was adamant that delivery people and tradespeople would use the back entrance. Only guests would use the front entrance. She was absolutely adamant that's the way the house works. And I get it. You had like nice expensive carpet in the front hallway and you didn't want muddy boots cross it, all that sort of thing. But it's not very like community driven, I suppose. It's not that
Yeah,
community.
it's not. Yeah, big old country houses back in the day don't really strike me as something that has a particularly strong community, which you're trying to revive.
You'd be surprised. I think country houses actually did have a community back in the day. And that's one of the reasons they were built. They were their own sense of community. So Berwick House in the 1800s stood standing as their own entity. It could make its own gas from the cows. It had its own dairy. It had its own meat. It grew its own vegetables.
Brewery.
A brewery. It had
Yeah.
people living on the property that also lived off the land.
It's basically the town hall of a village,
Mm.
more or less, that the public wasn't allowed into.
But you mentioned
Not the main bit. No, not the front door.
you mentioned two things there: growing your own vegetables and brewing your own beer.
Oh, yeah.
Now I've got a bit of a bone to pick with you. We are, if anyone's watching,
Oh.
we are drinking tins of American beer, which I can assume is Cassidy's doing.
My parents bought this
Today.
2 weeks ago.
The taps are off.
Mm.
What's gone on?
I'm very sad about this.
I'm very
But
sad about it too.
It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because it means the staff are really well trained and they know exactly what they're doing. It's a bad thing because it means we can't sit here and have beers.
That's probably a good thing.
So the taps ran dry. Is that
No, the
Fair.
taps haven't run dry. We've just trained the staff to turn the taps off at the end of the night so that we can't waddle down in our PJs.
okay?
I think because when they were first installed, I would just be like an absolute glutton, pig in a madhouse, and just help myself to these taps of beers.
You take these
And-
water pitchers that we've got and just fill them to the brim with beer and then bring it up to the flat.
Such an error.
What was when the taps were on, especially when you had that new fancy Guinness tap? What was the earliest you had a beer?
10:30 a.m.
Yeah, I think probably 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Probably 10 a.m.
To be fair, though, Tim, our general manager, has made me a cocktail at 9:30 a.m. with
So-
significant quantities of vodka.
For tasting purposes.
Yes,
Because you've got
Yes.
Tasting
He said,
cups of dirt.
"Sip of this is what we're serving at the wedding next
Well,
week."
yeah, and Will has to check that the taps aren't something or other.
Suddenly dried up or
Yeah.
got clogged.
And to be fair, that was a fantastic cocktail. It was, how'd you pronounce it?
Snake bite.
Latka.
Snake bite, yeah. Absinthe. No, it was a Swarlotka.
Swarlotska.
Swarlotska. It was a
Polish cocktail.
There was
Double shot of vodka,
Ooh,
cinnamon essence, and apple juice. It's
but
kind of
Polish
breakfasty.
vodka. Polish vodka.
Yeah.
Polish apple juice.
Bison grass.
Probably should have been.
Uh,
It was very good.
Now, unfortunately, in a very stereotypical manner, I heard that the taps are run dry. Obviously, they've just been turned off. And I also heard that you had a Polish wedding. And I put two and two together, and I think I made five.
we did have to have an emergency booze delivery in
Did
the middle of
you?
this wedding. Yeah.
Wow.
So shout out to Battlefield Beers for sorting us out because we thought we had overstocked, but the Polish wedding proved us otherwise.
What were you running low on? What did you have to do the amount?
Vodka.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Which is astounding because the agreement was they would bring their own vodka. So they would bring,
BYOV.
they
I
would
love
bring
this
their own
stuff.
vodka, which they drank, and then wanted more from the bar. So it was like, there was a lot of booze that went.
There was a bottle of vodka per every 6 people, and it was gone. Gone.
I mean, the Polish can drink.
That is quite
I mean,
remarkable.
I was
But,
impressed.
like, everyone managed really well. We weren't worried at all about any sick or any mess.
Yeah.
These people could hold it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
who we were worried about were the English guests who were trying to keep up with the Polish.
Yeah, we're lightweights at the end of the day.
To be fair, the house was immaculate when
Yeah.
they left. The only thing that I can think of was a demolished cast iron garden chair.
Is
That
that
was.
vodka related?
I don't know if it was vodka related.
I think it
Hard
might
to
be
say.
35 years of compounding vodka and very, very fatty food that might have led to said disaster.
We'll put a picture, but it was like
Well, of the person.
It's an impressive.
no, of the person,
It's an impressive break. Solid cast iron snapped in two.
just straight through. Amazing.
Wow.
Very impressive.
Not on a seam or anything.
So tell me, I mean, it sounds like a fantastic wedding with that quantity of vodka. Tell me what, I mean, you must have been able to be a bit of a fly on the wall. What's a Polish wedding like?
Oh, lots of foot stomping.
Lots of foot stomping,
Right.
lots of Polish dancing,
Yeah.
really good Polish donuts.
Oh,
Or like
yummy.
kind of like bread, but stuffed with sour cherry filling, and then a nice
Oh, I got to tell
sugar
you,
coating.
I found myself so on the Saturday evening they were all dancing. I found myself gorging on the Polish sausages that they have, authentic Polish sausages, just unbelievable. You can't get them anywhere in the
Can I just
world.
confirm that you had permission to do this, or were you just?
Yeah, I have permission. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were all the leftovers. So I was in the kitchen having a plate of these sausages, and then I get behind me. I just hear this, "Excuse me," and I've never shit myself as fast in my life because I thought I was in big trouble eating somebody else's sausages. Fortunately, it was just the security guy also wanting some sausages.
They had a rumor that the sausages were going.
Yeah,
It was
pretty
a
much.
sausages, vodka, and jelly donuts kind of weekend.
It was
Ooh.
great fun.
That is
Good.
hard work. Were they good sausages?
Just unbelievable, yeah, unbelievable. They were so good. I had so much meat that I was at the store earlier today and I bought bags of salad. I've never bought salad from a grocery store in my life.
Oh, so what you're doing is you're doing the month-long meal. So over the course of a whole month, you're trying to balance out the kind of
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
it's the course
so
of a year, but yeah.
Doing the detox.
you're doing the salad detox.
There's only so many meat sweats you can survive.
Yeah, so we were talking earlier on about how hard it is to recruit in hospitality and just how hard the hospitality industry is in general, but you're selling it with some pretty serious perks.
A lot of free food. We eat-
Donuts.
You've got donuts.
We do
You've
have
got, you've got
perks.
unlimited vodka.
You know,
One
we installed this soda tap in the bar recently, and we have a button just for Red Bull. And we put that mostly because it's popular, but also because one of our members of staff, who I won't name, Charlie, who was on the last podcast, loves Red Bull. And he'll always be bringing in his own cans of Red Bull. And I said to him, I was like, Charlie, we're getting our own Red Bull
Yeah.
just for you. So he now has a button.
Well, it just
on
goes
the
straight
tap.
from the tap
Yeah,
Yeah.
straight from the tap.
into the mouth.
I mean,
Yeah,
the guy
yeah.
won't make it past 20.
No, exactly.
The amount of Red Bull he drinks.
So last week's episode, we spoke about, I think we were in the Great Hall, and that was where the DJ happens and the music, and you were getting a little bit bored of the Killers and Mr. Brightside,
Same.
Sex on Fire, and all of this kind of stuff. Was it any different with a Polish wedding?
It was so good.
It was fun.
The bride and the groom are members of their own band. So the first night they had, like they had a separate band, and then they had a DJ later on in the night playing up on the staircase.
Cool.
And then the second day they performed.
Oh, so it was a double dayer.
Yeah. It was the
couple
3-night.
actually performed.
Yeah, it was a 3-night, 4-day wedding. And it was amazing because their personalities came through the whole thing. It was like nothing we'd ever seen before. It was a perfect blend of English and Polish, and the culture was so fascinating.
It's really cool.
Different
And everyone
music.
was well behaved as well.
Really well behaved. And you know what's really nice is the couple, the loveliest people I've ever met. And the bride came up to me, I think like 11 p.m. on the Saturday night or something. And everyone had a lot of alcohol. And they said, listen, I can't thank you enough for putting on this event for us. We've had such a great time. And we can tell how much you and Cassidy love this building and love doing this. And also, I think she said something along the lines of the amount of work that you do isn't lost on us, or something like that.
Mm.
It was very rewarding because we'd worked our fucking socks off for this. It was like,
We guys do. We care a lot.
yeah, but to get that sort of empathy was very rewarding.
Yeah, I think we've spoken in the past about your, one's energy levels, your kind of battery getting depleted.
Yeah.
And then just a simple 20-second comment, 30-second comment like that could just spike it back up again. And then,
Yeah.
your depletion is a little bit slower the next time. So anyone that ever goes to restaurants or goes to weddings, be nice to
Yeah.
people.
Just be nice to people.
It
And
makes it-
you can tell when somebody has worked in hospitality as well because they treat hospitality workers with respect.
And you get so much more too, I feel like. If you share your appreciation and make people feel like, oh, my work really has an impact. People works. It's so much easier to go the extra mile for that guest
Yeah.
because you care.
So shout out to Anglo-Polish relations, which I think were toasted many a time over the weekend. But you were saying, this is a 3-day wedding and the people were so nice. You were saying before we started the podcast that you always feel like, well, you're the last one standing. You're there where the lights go out and everyone's left and the building feels a bit empty. How does that feel?
It's like empty nesting.
Ah, I love this job so much, and I have the funnest job, I think, because Cassidy tends to do the morning shift. She does breakfast, and I come down when the party starts. I come down when the DJ starts and the cake gets rolled out and people start boogieing. So I have the best job. But when people leave and they all go to bed or they all leave to go their regular lives the next day, it is just Cassidy and I cleaning up the debris and the confetti, and we're looking at each other like,
This is sad.
we're the last ones.
Yeah, couldn't they have just lived here forever? Was that
They
too
say
much to
they
ask?
say you should never be the last person to leave the party.
We are always the last person to leave every party.
So you've been doing this for a few years now. Have you kept in touch? Obviously, some people still listen to this podcast, which I'm sure is a very nice way of staying in touch. But do you ever get messages or check in with people, or is it just like, all right,
Yeah.
that was great,
Yeah.
it's a transaction? off you go?
I stay in touch with the
We like to, like, on their anniversary, just check in. Just say, we still reveling in your day. It was so unique. And because they all are completely unique. And we remember every single one individually.
Oh, can we have a human discussion as well for a second?
Oh, yeah?
When
I mean,
when you
I think
say,
this is a human
when you
discussion,
say
but
you,
that's
you remember people's anniversaries because you get notifications that they got married a year later,
yeah.
and then there was one time when
We'll set up these automations to make sure I don't forget people's anniversaries.
Mm.
And so I get an email automatically saying, it's so-and-so's anniversary today. Send them a message. And so I just took that for granted and was like, oh, okay, I'll send them a happy anniversary message. Turns out Will has programmed this to go out a month before their anniversary. So that
but if
I
you
can...
read it, it does say it's the anniversary in a month's time.
But how was that helpful? I'm not going to remember anything in a month's time.
So there was one couple that I think you sent an email to.
I
like,
sent an
nudge
email
them
saying,
during the-
and I did remember their wedding, and I said, oh my God, your music was like still like some of the most...
a wonderful
the
May wedding.
best. Well,
That
yeah,
was in June.
yeah, exactly. So it looks half-assed.
Did they reply going,
They never
please can I
replied.
unsubscribe?
never replied.
Never replied.
No,
Well, at least they didn't say we're now divorced.
I try to stay in touch with a
That
lot.
was a fear of mine.
I try to stay in touch with a lot of the couples. I think primarily because you kind of develop like a relationship with them throughout their booking period,
It's quite
and the
intimate.
planning period, and yeah.
It's quite an intimate relationship because we are getting to know their entire family and their closest friends.
What's super cool is that they will remember you for the rest of their lives. You know,
No.
that,
They're so sorry, guys.
you know, when we got married, there's certain people from that day that are not family and friends that were like, oh, yeah, I will always remember you at that particular point.
Hopefully fondly.
Hopefully fondly.
Hopefully
So you-
not based on the smell.
So you've done a Polish wedding.
Yeah.
What other countries can we tick off the list? English, obviously.
English,
Indeed.
Indian,
Iranian.
Iranian,
Interesting. Irish. Okay.
Scottish,
Scottish.
yeah,
American.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else? Italian,
Ukrainian.
Pakistani,
Oh wow, you've really.
Ukrainian.
We should have a map that we
What else?
check off.
Lots.
So if you're listening to this, I think I've got.
Ghana.
Yeah.
What was that?
Ghanan.
Ghanaian.
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 Ghana.
Ghanan.
I'm sure they loved it when you
We've
started
gone
speaking
and
about
did
the
your
Ghans.
wedding.
So I think I've got the authority to do this 20 odd episodes in. If you are thinking about getting married at Berwick House and you are from a nationality that's not been ticked off, 50% off. Is that fine?
Stephen pays the other 50%.
And free vodka for everyone. Let's take a break. And when I come back, I want to talk about dogs, bouncy castles, and televisions.
Good times.
Of course.
Bouncy castles.
bouncy
Hell yeah.
castles.
I'm gonna
Forum.
my method of questioning is just going to be to say things now. So, bouncy castles.
Bouncy
Forum.
castles.
Go on.
So I was on a wedding tour on Sunday, and a gentleman popped in with his daughter and said, "Hello, I'm here to see Cassidy." So I said to my wedding tour, "Ooh, just one moment. Let me check with this gentleman. Hello." And what we hadn't really communicated was the following day, on Monday,
Mm.
there was a child's birthday party, 6th birthday party
Here at Berwick.
here at Berwick.
Lucky 6-year-old.
Mm.
Yeah,
My God.
absolutely. And there was meant to be a bouncy castle. I knew that there was meant to be a bouncy castle. So I thought, okay, this chap is here on a Sunday because he's setting up the bouncy castle. So I was like, here's where it's going. Here's where it's going to be. But he was busy like looking at his phone. So I said to his daughter, who was probably about 6, I said, "Does he let you use the bouncy castle at home?" And she went, and I said, "Oh, you're going to have to set your bouncy castle up in your driveway now." But what wasn't getting through was that he was a guest. He and his daughter were there for the birthday party a day early
Oh,
because he had
no.
got the wrong date for the party.
So you basically asked this random guest lots of random questions about bouncy castles.
About the specs, where it was going.
And he
here's
was
to show you
so
where it's going.
confused.
We were both just disappointing each other because he was there with his daughter expecting a great party, and instead it was me, knackered after a 4-day wedding weekend,
Trying to do another tour.
trying to in the middle of another tour. And I was disappointed
Yes.
because I was expecting him to set up a bouncy castle, which he didn't have anything to do
Yeah,
with.
because if he had set it up the night before, you could have at least got a little bit of bouncy
Exactly.
castle.
And then I love
Yeah.
I love the end of the story.
What?
Go on.
What's the end of
The
the
child cried.
No, the way you described it to me was he said, "Oh, it looks like the party's tomorrow," and then gets back in his car and drives off.
Yeah, I was just like, "See you tomorrow." Back to my
Did
tour.
Did he come the next day?
He did. He did.
Did he bring a bouncy
But
castle?
he had apparently driven
No.
about 50 minutes to come to this.
I mean, an anti-shout out to that guy. If there is such a thing.
Poor guy.
Shout into that guy.
A shout into that guy.
He's dedicated enough to come 2 days in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. What else am I going to talk about? Dogs. No, I'm going to talk first about the poll that we put out on various social media channels,
Did.
possibly Instagram.
Mm.
And it was a few weeks ago that we were discussing the rooms in Berwick, of which there are 18 guest rooms.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yep.
All beautifully, individually decorated, fantastic interiors. And we were talking, do you need a television in your room?
Mm.
And the reason why we were talking about this was because of the plan for you guys to open a bit of a hotel.
Mm.
So firstly, the results of the poll.
Resounding no against television.
Resounding no
Which I was
against
surprised
television.
about, and I think the question actually should be: do you want a hotel, and then do you need it? Do you want a TV, and then do you need a TV? Because I think people want one, but do you need one in a place like this?
But I don't even know if they wanted one. I think you might have misread the poll.
I
Maybe.
wonder if the resounding no is because people were still expecting us to be operating as a private events venue, in which case you don't need a television because there are people to mingle with downstairs and there's things going on and you shouldn't be shut away in your room watching telly. But if we were open as a hotel and you don't know anyone else staying at the hotel, wouldn't you like some respite
Okay, yeah.
in
So
your
that's
own room?
that's interest. That is appropriate context, I think, for the question at hand. Because if you were to ask a theme park, do you need a TV on the back of every ride seat, they would probably say no. But on the context of a hotel, possibly. Do you know what I mean? Context is so important.
Context is important.
This makes sense to Will.
It makes sense in my brain. But I do think context is important. So maybe we should re-ask it in the context of a hotel.
Yes, we could possibly re-ask it in a different way. I think it's one of those questions, a little bit like, are you polling questions where they say, are you going to vote Republican or are you going to vote for the Tories? And everyone says no, whereas secretly they go and vote for the Tories or whatever it is. They've come up with a new way of polling, which is, what will your next door neighbour vote? And then they'll go, oh, my next door neighbor, yeah, they'll vote Tory because, you know, they're happy to kind of say what they really want to vote, but through the medium of their next door neighbor. So maybe we can do that with an updated poll.
Didn't know televisions were so political.
Yeah. What would your next door neighbor want in their bedroom? TV or no TV? Because it's a bit of a guilty pleasure. I think we all go, all right, we're going to have this amazing experience, enjoy the grounds, maybe meet some people downstairs in our hotel stay. But the reality is,
Kind
But
of
that's
you
like,
just watch telly.
I think that's sort of setting the wrong expectation. That's making a argument on the basis of what you assume somebody else wants that you might not necessarily want. So, for example, you might say, do you think your neighbor wants a roller coaster in the garden? And you would probably say, hell yeah, that sounds great. But then actually ask the question, you get down to the practicalities. Well, my garden's probably not big enough for a roller coaster. Well, actually, other people might want to go onto the roller coaster.
I'm
Do you know what I mean?
lost.
It's like it asking the neighbor the question doesn't necessarily correspond to what you want.
Now,
But does that make sense?
no,
No?
No.
now, Will's
Makes sense in my head.
Will's mother is in the audience,
Oh.
and I assume that this is Will. This is a cry for help. Yeah. This is Will saying, "I want to go to Universal Studios, and I want to get on all the rides." So every metaphor, every anecdote is going to be theme
This
park.
was my second roller coaster anecdote, to be fair.
Yeah,
So.
within a very short period of time. And, well, look, we might as well get all the announcements out. Hotel this September. Theme
Hotel.
park 2027.
Theme Park 2027. Hell yeah. That was a joke.
We're looking at opening as a hotel. Still doing private hire events, primarily, but opening up those dates which aren't occupied by private hire events as a hotel. There's a few reasons for this. The first reason is that we get quite a few people saying, as they check out, oh, we're never going to be able to come back here again because we were here for our wedding and there's no other opportunity to experience it unless they were to do a big blowout anniversary party, private hire anniversary party. And I always thought that's a bit of a shame because we're starting at the bottom of the mountain with winning people's trust and building that relationship every single time. The other thing is we've got an amazing team of staff. We want to grow the teams that our current team doesn't have to work away quite so hard every weekend. We've got like nothing, big spike, lots of shifts, nothing, big spike, lots of shifts. We almost want to flatten that line a little bit so that we've got more regular work available for like a bar lead or a bartender who doesn't just want to work Friday and Saturday night, you know? And because we're almost at a point now where the majority of the wedding couples we're seeing are coming from London, Cheshire. We're not really contributing as much to Shrewsbury, being as available to our own local community as we'd like to be. I don't know if I'm missing anything.
No, I was going to say a really dumb joke, which I've forgotten about already. But what I would say is the thing is that most venues operate as a hotel and then start doing weddings. So they start doing the really sort of complicated 2-year planning period after they start doing the hotel stays. We're just doing it the other way around. Like we've done the really difficult, complicated, intricate bit first, and now we're opening up as a hotel. We can do hotel stays. We can do it standing on our head. We do it every single weekend.
We might be a bit naive about this.
I don't think so.
Well, the nice thing about a wedding is we've got a whole weekend to win people over and to show them what we do and to show them the house inside and out. With a single night hotel stay, we've really realistically got about 18 hours to show them what we can do and impress them.
What I would like to know, actually, maybe this is another poll, what I would like to know is what creature comforts would people want when they kind of stay at a place like Berwick?
Creature comfort. Just like amenities?
Yeah, it's kind of an English term. How do you describe creature?
Yeah, it's little things that make you feel more at home in a particular surrounding.
Like a TV.
Like a nice big 50-inch flat screen telly that Sky Sports. Yeah, just little things, you know.
Little things. But what else would they want? What else they guess?
Yeah.
But
Like if you go stay at the Pig Hotel, the amenity that you're expecting is the fantastic food that they have gardened in their kitchen garden.
the unique selling point, the USP.
If you go stay at the Ritz, you know you're getting 5-star plus service. What did people think that they are getting when they come stay here? Is it clay pigeon shooting? Is it fishing? Is it good service? Is it all of the above?
Is it guaranteed hauntings? Is it?
Is it guaranteed hauntings? Is it Spooky Jane and her tours?
It will be Spooky Jane. Yeah, you have to get her back on the payroll. Uh, so what's really interesting, and I think it's wonderful that you guys are doing this, or at least kind of thinking about doing it. And I think that the way that you're conceptualizing it, launching small, not massive fanfare, inviting those people that have stayed with you previously, and almost doing a kind of soft launch, as you would say. I think what's really important to look back on is when you were scrabbling around in those early weddings, what was it? What did you over index on? What did you overemphasize? Maybe to make up for the, the things you hadn't quite nailed yet. And from what I understand, it's your personalities and it's the essence of the house. So I think that the USP is what your USP has been for weddings, right?
Authenticity.
What's the slogan that you've got?
Yeah, authenticity is good, and I think that keeps people here. But it wouldn't make somebody from Liverpool or London travel all the way to sodding Shrewsbury. There has to be a really good reason why somebody would travel to Shrewsbury.
I'm gonna pick you up on that. A, Shrewsbury's great. Have you ever been on the Sabrina?
I agree.
Ever been on the Sabrina?
It was tongue in cheek.
It's like a theme park ride. Isn't it?
You know the expression for Shropshire, at least. It's the death of ambition.
Apart from you guys who are opening a hotel.
But I love this phrase because there are two ways of looking at it, right? It's the death of ambition because there's nothing to do and your ambition just dies when you arrive, or because it's so nice and so comfortable that you don't want to do anything else when you arrive here. And I like that bit more. And I think we can really tap into that. There is we live in like an amazing country house that is still a home that we can offer other people. It's a quirky home away from home. So that itself is a USP. But I suppose it's just figuring out what people expect when they book a holiday here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe you can A/B test. You can have half the rooms with tellies and then get their TripAdvisor, and then half the rooms without tellies and see which ones get the best.
I don't think we'll touch TripAdvisor.
Maybe
TripAdvisor has bad reputation.
Yeah, maybe that's not the...
Did you hear about that guy on TripAdvisor who had he set up a sandwich shop in London, and he set up such a big fan base on TripAdvisor. You heard about this? And I can't remember his name, and he ended up launching, and everyone was so happy about the sandwiches, even though he just did them from the back of his shed because he had spent 2 years promoting this thing.
Oh, he got a Michelin
5-star reviews.
He got a Michelin star for a restaurant that didn't exist.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of the
Yeah.
I can't
So
remember.
we steer clear of TripAdvisor.
Yes.
We soft launch a hotel at some point later on this year. Watch this space. Watch the channels. The third thing I was going to talk about in the context of this really, really interesting strategic move, which we'll talk about in future weeks. Dogs. We own them. We love them. Man's best friend, woman's best friend. Should they be invited to the hotel? Not on their own, obviously, but with very, very sensible guests.
Well, what we have right now is we have dog-friendly rooms in the house, and there are probably 4, I think, 3 or 4 out of all 18 bedrooms. So do we expand that to all the rooms? I think probably that's a bad idea because some of the rooms...
Don't know. The rooms that are dog friendly currently are rooms that don't have carpeting, don't have upholstered bed frames. Yeah, generally just easier to clean fabrics.
But you've had 3 or 4 bedrooms that are dog friendly. So do guests bring their dogs to weddings? Is that a thing that happens?
It's at the bride and groom's or groom and groom's or bride and bride's discretion. So we are dog friendly if you want us to be, but if you'd rather your aunt not bring her dog that barks consistently to your wedding, then we will be a not dog friendly venue for that weekend.
We have had that a few times.
Yeah.
So we advocate for dogs. We say you can bring your dog, but we've had a couple of couples in the past that really, really, really don't want their auntie bringing their schnauzer or their... So they'll say, actually, Berwick isn't dog friendly. Actually, don't bring a schnauzer, please.
So we're happy to take the fall for any rules that brides and grooms want put in place.
Yeah, it feels like we've got a lot of polls that we need to ask the Instagram group. Like, should this be 100% dog, 30, 40% dog, 0% dog, a
What
dog-free
What
environment?
about children?
Oh,
That's another one.
no children. I
Really?
mean, that's a
You think we should be child-free?
Will equates children with dogs in a
Yeah,
yeah,
I do.
yeah. That's
equally
what,
as destructive in many
Equally as
ways.
expensive.
Yeah, equally as noisy.
by the next time we air these very, very important business model and strategic questions, I'm sure will have all been ironed out. No? Maybe.
I'm sure.
Hope so.
Yeah,
We'll
we're
see.
kind of building the plane as we fly it.
Yeah.
Who isn't
Yeah, who isn't? Anyone who says they're not is full
is
of
a
it.
liar.
Absolutely full of it. But what I would say is a big driver for wanting to try this out as a hotel is to be able to offer weekend stays, private hire events, better amenities.
Mm.
Because by having the level of staffing we need to be open Monday through Thursday, we're able to do things over the weekend like have a proper chef and have housekeeping that comes in and does turn down service in the bedrooms during weddings. Things that right now we desperately want to have and we can't because it's only 2 nights a week, 3 nights, 3 mornings a week.
The will turn down service is extra, by the way. I'll come in and I'll tuck them in. That's extra.
Yeah, that's
That's quite creepy.
luxury scene. Will come
That was a joke as well.
We'll read you a bedtime story and fluff your pillow and get if you want to kiss on the forehead, good night.
No, I can't do that.
No.
My wife says no. Sorry.
All right.
For the right price.
Quick fire round.
Quick fire round.
Best moment of the week.
A highlight
Highlight of the week.
in terms of
Just
the best.
the best moment of the week.
I can't think of one.
There's been so many.
Tough week.
No, it didn't. Not because there hasn't been any. Because there have been a lot. Can you think of any?
I can think of one. So after a wedding breakfast, when we have for 110 people, for example, like we had this past weekend, there are 4 glasses out per person, so 440 bits of glassware out per person. My highlight of the week was after hours of running these glasses through the dishwasher and polishing them by hand. We had 440 glasses beautifully displayed in the butler's pantry, glass cabinets, all immaculate,
satisfying.
polished, ready to go.
Oh,
So I've got 2 highlights. You've reminded me of 2 highlights actually. The first one is kind of sort of a highlight, which is on Sunday, Cassidy spent the entire day, probably more than that, probably about 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours perhaps, cleaning glassware in the butler's pantry. Flat out, just cleaning glassware for about 10 hours. And that was admirable. I would have just said
a highlight for you.
I would have just said no. I was very impressed. I was impressed is more than anything. And the second, maybe you're just
I'm stubborn.
But that was very admirable because I couldn't have done it. And the second highlight would be a member of staff who's really stepped up to the plate recently. One of our porters again, and he's constantly looking for more things to do, despite the fact that we throw a lot at him, and he's constantly looking for new things to do. Jacob.
Jacob.
Yeah.
Jacob.
He's a good dude, and he just cracks on.
Shout out to Jacob.
And you know what's
Constantly
great?
Catch Jacob going above and beyond really quietly. He doesn't draw attention to himself. He doesn't.
But you've got to be careful with Jacob, I've realised, because if you say, "Hey, can you please clean down the bar?" he will spend every waking hour cleaning down the bar to the best of his ability. He's just that sort of persistent and consistent.
I caught Jacob out of the corner of my eye. I was working behind the bar, just helping them get out of the weeds, and someone ordered a glass of whiskey on the rocks. And I saw him look for a clean whiskey glass. There were none. He opened the dishwasher. There was one in the dishwasher, clean. Took it out. It was obviously quite hot. Instead of just like putting some ice in there and pouring whiskey and serving them out of a warm glass, he took the extra 10 seconds to rinse it in the sink till it was ice cold under cold water, then polish it so it was perfectly dry and hold it up to the light and make sure it was all pristine, and then serve whiskey. And no one trained him to do that. It's just like that's the level he knew that Berwick deserved.
So, Jacob, if you're listening to this podcast, what you've got now is a thing called leverage.
Don't tell him. He knows.
It's a simple rule of life. You can ask for a pay rise.
Oh,
If you want.
he's a good dude. Yeah, he's very sound.
Deserves it.
Final question. If we are not on the roof next week, if the weather coming in from Wales, as it always does, stays pretty bad, where do you want to be?
Well, Tom actually had some good ideas. Didn't you say the cellar?
Tom, our producer.
Tom's desperate into the cellar.
For some, I don't know why. Tom really wants to go into
Because
the
he's
cellar.
never been down there. He doesn't know how grimy it is.
The what? The spirit box.
Okay, so if we can't go up high,
We go.
we're going
We
down,
go down
low.
low.
Yeah.
We head into the cellar.
Can't take the high road. We
We
take
the low road. God help us.
Until next week.
Say ya.
Sweet.
Bye bye.